This house is located in the remote parts of Hawaii and has some pretty cool outdoor lighting. This was done the same way we would do it with PoEWit solutions, but in low voltage instead of high voltage. Given this house is in a remote location, it gets pretty dark here at night. The homeowners wanted to have the house set up so that anywhere you step on the property at night, all the perimeter lights would go on. Today, high voltage wiring is what would be commonly used to set this up. And in this case, because of the size of the property, over 10 motion detectors were used to cover the area. This is the first motion detector, and because all of this was installed during the house construction, all the walls were open and all the high voltage Romex was wired to a single wiring closet, which I will show you, and it is right here. Now, once the house is finished, if they wanted to set up the motion detectors and lights with Romex, it would be almost impossible and very expensive to do. Now with PoEWit, you can achieve these same results very easily and at a fraction of the cost by simply running a Cat 5 or 6 cable, which the installer can do himself, all low voltage PoE versus high voltage. Now, there are many benefits to using low voltage instead of high voltage, but we will discuss those in another video. Now let me walk you through this installation and show you how. Next to the wiring closet, we see all the recessed lights that are installed throughout the property. The way it is set up is when a motion detector trips, it turns on all the lights, and this was all achieved using high voltage. That was the only way to do it before PoEWit technology. With our solutions, you can achieve this at a fraction of the cost, and installation is a lot simpler, even after the construction of the house ends. Because of the architecture of this home, the majority of the outside lights are recessed lights that are tagged onto the eave. One thing about PoEWit lights is that they are powered all over PoE, so all you need is one Cat 5 or 6 cable to each one. There's some more recessed lights right there. And from there, it is powered and networked, all low voltage and completely safe. You can wire up motion detectors and lights independently, and all of the devices go to the cloud, where you can set up and configure through our app. So there's the next motion detector right there. Wiring this using high voltage took a lot of planning, and once the walls were all closed up, no more changes can be made. They decided that when any of the motion detectors trip, all of these lights underneath will come on automatically. There's no flexibility to change this after they are wired and set up. With a PoEWit system, it could all be changed, so you could set it up where one motion detector trips all of the lights and they all come on, or you could set it so that when certain motion detectors are tripped, only some of the lights come on. Our solutions are able to offer you flexibility that you cannot achieve with high voltage. If you start walking around to the back, you can see that there are more recessed lights. These give the property a very elegant look. If you look here, you can see again how we are in a very remote area, so it gets pitch black out here if it wasn't for these lights. It makes a huge difference in a home's security when it is well illuminated versus completely dark. There's another motion detector right up there pointed out to the wooded areas. Now, as you can see, this motion detector has traditional dials, which all motion detectors have. And so in order to set this up, you have to go up and adjust the duration that you want for the lights to come on, the lux that you want the light to be, the light of day that you want to trigger the lights, and also the sensitivity. It all has to be done manually, up on a ladder, one by one. So given that this property has over 10 motion detectors, you gotta go to each one and set it up. And after you set it up, if you don't quite match the setting you want, then you gotta go back on the ladder and reconfigure all those dials. With PoEWit, after you install it, it automatically all goes to the cloud. And from the cloud, you can set up all motion detector settings through the app. And of course, you can apply to all motion detectors in the property from your mobile phone. You have complete control and flexibility. Here you can see more lights. Now, the other big thing about this house is that because it was built over 20 years ago, they didn't have IP cameras at the time. Nowadays, if the homeowner really wanted IP cameras, and with PoEWit solutions, you could easily have taken those lights and used the PoE Pass-Through feature to also power the cameras and the current lights that are installed. For example, with that motion detector, if you want a camera right there, and there's already a Cat 5 or 6 wire, all you have to do is just bring it into the camera through the PoE Pass-Through and power both devices. So PoEWit really does offer the utmost flexibility. Most of today's high-end homes already have IP-based cameras, so if you want to supplement those cameras with PoEWit lights so they can record in color, you could easily add them to the existing installations by using the PoE Pass-Through feature on our devices. Here we can see a big security light that's right over the garage, which is a very traditional and in most high-end homes today to ward off intruders. If you like our videos, don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe. See you next time!